everyone. Welcome back to the podcast of A Million Little Perspective. This is episode 13, uh, 12 seconds. This episode is happily written by DJ Nash. Adam, you're happy about this, right?
Not even a real DJ mode.
And directed by
Justin, get
James
this.
Griffith.
The guy who writes this show, his first name's DJ.
DJ what?
Nash.
DJ Nash. Well, what's the name of the show?
Million Little Things.
Oh, DJ Nash.
Hey, Justin, you didn't know, man?
No, that's my bad.
What the hell,
Well, we have a guest today. Justin, thank you for being here. We'll have more
no
guests on the way, hopefully, if they say
Wait,
yes.
wait. We're supposed to say their full legal name, right?
You want me to?
I'd rather we not talk about our legal names in this.
All right, so this is Justin.
Chinese name.
Justin James Jing.
Jing.
Well, as you know from the last episode, we have started a new segment where we take a theme from the episode, make a question, and then we ask it to the guest and ourselves, and we answer it. So,
what's the question?
in this episode's question is, what is your most memorable moment during your elementary school years? I think we should let our guests go first because we're polite that way. Hopefully,
Yeah,
we're
guess.
polite.
At elementary school years.
Yeah.
I don't really. Can I switch it to middle school because I don't remember my elementary that much. Or
Yeah,
does it have to
sure.
be elementary?
Middle school.
Okay.
It's
Middle
fine.
school, I would say my favorite memory was actually with Adam. It was. Can't wait to use that on the girls. I mean, the next thing, basically, I remember having a really, really funny engagement when me and Adam knew each other since 6th grade because of Bahasa class, but we were really friendly, but we were never really close. And then we were always like friendly. So in 7th grade, when we got paired together to sleep in the same room.
Oh yeah.
In the volley school trip. I've never experienced hanging out with Adam before, but I regret it. The first thing he did was the bed I called. He just jumped on it and farted on it, and then I got mad, and then as a joke, I got a water balloon, and I tried to throw it at Adam, but instead of popping on Adam, it bounced off the wall, and then did not pop. And so Adam, as retaliation, threw it at me, but it hit the wall, and the wall was exploded in water. And it was just drenching the entire, and there was a gigantic wet spot. So if anyone came in our room, they'd just be wondering, what the fuck, why is it so wet? And then every time, oh yeah, and then the next bed I had to sleep in because I think I slept on the same bed as because it was one big bed and one small bed, and then Adam slept in the small bed. Me and Daniel slept in the big bed. And then I gave it to you. You proceeded right after that, even though I gave you the small bed, to fart on my side of the bed. So it was no difference. I should have still just said something the one I already called. Because I remember I called it, and then there was a reason I didn't sleep on that one is because he farted on it immediately. That was the only reason.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a little bit of my experience in middle school. That's my most memorable moment, especially with Adam.
That's
yeah, that's I don't know. That's my story.
Adam, do you want to go elementary or middle school?
I go middle school.
Okay, please do.
So we're on this weird trip, and this guy called this bed, and I was like, "Nah, screw that guy. He's not gonna get that." So
Please tell a different story.
It's a different experience. You got to understand both sides of the story.
My favorite is when I went on a school trip, and as I went to bed, I looked up in this giant room, of 8 boys, and I see this man
Oh.
sitting on an armchair in the middle of the room for no reason. Most everyone's trying to go to bed. And you're like,
What
hey,
experience is this?
hey.
This
May I
was
say his
8th
name?
grade.
8th
I'll say
grade.
there's this little man called Yuki sitting in an armchair in the middle of the room with 8 sleeping boys, and we're like, "Hey Yuki, what are you doing sitting in the dark?" He's like, "I'm not tired."
Yeah, I remember that very vividly, but yeah, I remember a lot more different parts from that trip, but yes, I remember that
Like what?
part.
Wait, where was this?
This is the year 8.
Yeah,
Yeah,
grade 8 to the Sulawesi Tasikoki animal shelter trip.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'll just say 8th grade. I don't know where you went. Because
Well,
I went
there's a
somewhere
lot.
else.
I'm gonna talk about my elementary year because
I should have forgot. Yuki was here in 8th grade.
yes, I was
Okay.
here from 6 to 8. But
Okay.
I'm gonna talk about my elementary year in Kuala Lumpur. Um, uh, basically, I used to rub my eye a lot, and there's this big bulb that grew inside of my eye. Very concerning to my parents and myself because when I look at the mirror, there's this large bump in my eyelid, inside my eyelid, and then I went to the doctor, the eye doctor, lots of eye doctor because some of them are unreliable. And then it turns out that I had rubbed my eye too much, allowing lots of oil to get in, creating and then becoming solid and having a bump.
That,
So I
like,
had to have eye surgery on my right eye, and it's very scary. But I was under anesthesia. But the fact that I got an eye surgery was very frightening because the possibility of being blind is as real as it can get when it gets to eye surgery. And it also happened the next year on my other eye. It was super annoying. So I had eye surgery on both eyes. But the good thing is it hasn't happened since, and I hope it never happens. But yeah, that's my story of terror.
Wait, so you just rubbed your eye too much?
Yeah,
What were you
apparently
doing rubbing your eyes?
it was itchy.
it was itchy.
I was a kid.
I mean,
I
yeah. So wait, when did you know it was bad?
when it became a bulb and it had and
Did
everyone
you wake
could
up and one
see,
day it became a bulb, or did it like progressively grow bigger?
progressively grew bigger and bigger and bigger.
And you kept itching it, or?
Oh no, I stopped touching it when it became slightly big, and then I had to go to lots of eye doctors, and finally a very reliable eye doctor was able to tell me what the hell happened. But yeah, that's my story of gloom, I guess.
What was in it when they took it out?
What I don't know because I was under anesthesia and I was asleep at least 2 hours after the surgery. I'm assuming it's a small
They didn't tell you?
piece. They didn't tell me. No, they didn't. But I'm assuming it's just a like a oil, solid oil. I think. I'm not sure. I think that happens when it. I really don't know. But yes, that's what happened to me.
Okay, so
Yes.
then were your parents, or how did your parents react?
Oh, my parents reacted by saying, "Never ever rub your eye the way I did when I was a kid. I don't do it anymore." And COVID happened, so I can't rub my eye even if I want to because you could.
I mean, I guess you could.
I guess you could, but then you shouldn't because you'll get COVID.
That is
Just like,
true.
yeah, it's very
Wait, you
true.
can
Just
still
like
get it?
everybody, just like you.
Yeah, just like you, Justin.
Yeah, no, Justin, you got the vaccines. I think you'll be fine, right? But you're still in quarantine right now, which is very scary for most people. I
Yeah.
think. Well, technically, you have to go into quarantine if you enter Singapore, like my parents did a year ago. But yeah, you're in quarantine. How has your experience been? Technically, a hotel is nice, but prior to
Uh,
that,
before that, we were all quarantined in the camp. So
Yeah,
the
Justin got
first
sent off
day,
to
it
the
was supposed to be a
camps.
4-day weekend, a 4-day week, right? Because we had a 3-day weekend.
yeah,
Because it was higher. I don't know what I think higher something like that. So then,
Mm.
or no, Labor Day maybe. I think it was Labor Day. So then I was supposed to go in for like a really short week. It's like 4 days. I come out on Friday. I had plans for the weekend. See some friends, whatever. Go out, and then I'll just do something. I was expecting to go home on Friday night, and then they said on all of a sudden on Wednesday morning that no, I think it was Tuesday night. Tuesday night, yeah. They just said no one leave your bunk. All of a sudden, like it was like random. They just said don't leave.
so
So
you
then
guys were in the same tent-ish camp.
it's like a think about like no like think about barracks.
Oh,
Don't think about it like they're actual barracks. So like we're all just in the bunks, and they're all just saying they all just said don't leave. All of a sudden, like normally they don't say anything to us, right? But all of a sudden they said don't leave, like at all.
did they give you food at least?
Yeah, I mean they always give us food, but they started. It's all like takeaway food at that point. And it's just like the problem.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
not
that's
hot, and then it's just not. I mean, army food in general is not that great. So not and now that's not even hot. Not even better. You know.
Right, and then you're lucky enough to move to the hotel where where you are right now by yourself. Uh, right,
Yes.
it's very lucky that
Yeah.
they caught it because if you have COVID, you will die most likely.
I mean, we we like not to what does it think about the to stretch it that
Death,
far, but yes, it is possible. Just saying the what is it the way the army handled it was okay. It's just the fact that they took so long for us. Like it was 3 days before we transferred.
right?
So
Yeah,
like the first 3 days we had nothing. Like we did nothing. We had nothing. The only thing we had was our phones, and not even after having a phone for so long, and not having AC, it's hot, whatever, and especially in an area where you only go to sleep, spending an entire day in there is just not it. It's not great.
yeah,
But I mean, having it in a hotel, I'm not complaining. It's a lot better than before. I really enjoy my time in the hotel actually. So far, it's pretty clean.
where is them?
It's
Uh,
in Bugis. It's like
I
it's
think
not
I've,
near
I
or
think I've,
it's you might have
yeah,
heard
I
of it
know.
before, but I'm not. It's like near Orchard, but not
Oh,
like
okay.
yeah. It's around not next to Orchard or anything, but it's around near Orchard that side. It's hard to explain, but yeah, it's more in the town area.
Mm.
Pretty nice view. Unfortunately, I can't go out, but yeah, it's. I mean,
yeah.
I can have a shower that. Okay, so the big thing was that in the army, our showers were just god awful. Like the toilet experience is literally the worst thing ever. That is, it's abysmal. So for me to have okay, so the problem is compared to then, sometimes our drains wouldn't like it would like not have holes big enough for all the water to seep through. So the
Mm,
water would build up, and because they're all in like what is it? All the showers are right next to each other, right? So they'd all just build up water from each one and just slowly like flood to each single what is it? So your feet would be sunk in that water.
Oh,
oh,
okay.
Yeah,
it's not. That just sounds. Uh,
yeah, exactly. So,
yeah, but Singapore is
but
lucky with COVID rates. So is Australia.
I
Japan,
guess so.
it sucks. Apparently, we've reached
Really.
this government stupid and all. Luckily, my I was able to register for COVID vaccine for my grandpa. but not for me. Well, technically, registering for that website was the worst. It crashed for 2 days because so many people are trying to access it at once. So stupid. And then the main cities like Tokyo and Osaka, 1,000 people are being infected by COVID per day, which is just not
Is
good.
there? Wait, why? I thought the government would be more like uptight about it. Is it not? Is it more like
No.
free-spirited?
What they did was Osaka, we had lockdown, right? And then they said, well, the place is better, so we're gonna stop the lockdown. And then it just increased by abysmal to 1,000, so they can't contain it anymore. And then for Tokyo, it wasn't that bad because it was a longer lockdown, right? It and then it got out of hand again. But they're all at lockdown right now, but they're trying to stop the lockdown by the 17th of May, just so it got increased, I think. They were trying to, but then it got extended, but they're just so stupid trying to do the Olympics because of Tokyo 2020 Olympics pushed to 2021. They just want to get that thing, open. So they're trying to contain it as fast as possible, which is the most stupid way. They just keep it slow, in my opinion.
So what was the? So are you all required to wear masks though?
Yeah, mask is all required, but it's not like India where they do the rituals for no COVID. Please don't give me COVID without the masks. We are more
I think it's just because in
sensible.
India no, because in India they just don't have the education to.
We're more sensible, but we're more perceptive and very stubborn, because Japanese people want to go out, and they break the rules to go out mainly. But they did ban alcohol from 8 p.m. plus, which is a good thing, but it's not working. Yeah, they did.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's not in my place. It's in the Tokyo area. There's like 14 areas that locked down, but the place I'm in, it's been 200 COVID cases per day, but which is better than Tokyo and other places. So yeah, that's the story of COVID.
Story of COVID.
For now.
That's it. That's them.
Yeah, that's the story for now. Well, I would like to thank our guest, I guess, Justin. Thank you for being here. And yes, your stories are interesting.
Cool. Thank you.
Both stories are interesting. The COVID and the great Bali trip. The Bali trip was fun for me too. But yes, thank you for being here. And
no problem.
we'll probably invite you again, maybe, hopefully, when you're out of quarantine and when you have weekends during your from your army duties, we might invite you again. Thank you for joining our podcast. We'll see you later.
Okay. Okay, no problem. Yeah.
I love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well,
I thought you were sticking around. Okay.
Oh no. I just want to do it this way because if the person had listened to the podcast, the entire podcast, it makes sense. But yeah. But for this episode of A Million Little Things, 12 seconds, written by DJ Nash. The theme of this was the elementary or middle school experience, and I'm talking about this reason is because as you remember in the last episode, well, in the Christmas finale, Eddie did go on this trip to tour trip to with his former bandmates, right? And Theo was joining the trip for a while because Catherine once is having a busy time. So, but basically, Catherine's having a date, and she doesn't want Theo there. So basically, Catherine just sends Theo away to Eddie's bus or Eddie's tour bus, and and have you been on a? I don't think you have been on a tour bus, right?
Nope.
Yeah, but basically, tour bus, drugs, alcohol, lots of
What?
swearing, in this case happens. But
Oh, you're talking
since
about like
the
a rock band.
yeah,
Rock? Oh, I thought you were talking about like a tourist tour bus.
no, a rock band tour bus.
Oh,
Yeah. So Theo's coming on. You don't want any of those things in the bus. So Eddie makes ground rules like a respectable parent, which I do like him for doing that. And yeah, Eddie basically Eddie and Theo spend the entire day together. Theo talks about his concern. Well, Theo talks about Theo and Eddie catches up basically. And instead of eating on the tour, this tour bus, rock band tour bus, where you just drink and eat fast food. They go to a cafe or to eat, a diner to eat, which is a lot more healthier than doing so. And uh, thankfully, Eddie's bandmates are respectful enough to respect his wishes and let Theo um, be taken care of, let Theo be in this safe environment rather than anywhere else, I guess, because you could put him in a motel, but And then at the end of the episode, Eddie drops Theo off, and Eddie learns of this harsh truth that is going to be very painful, which I will talk about in the future or in when the episode ends. The second part is Maggie. She's been fighting cancer, thankfully, because of uh Gary constantly pushing her. So she got chemo, and now Maggie has this good news about her being able to get the surgery, which is very nice, right? It's the best thing you could have for most people because Maggie's better now, or in the step to becoming better. Surgery, scary stuff. I had surgery, like I mentioned, but yeah, it's a very good step for Maggie to be going through because it is cancer, basically. Cancer, no good. And then, well, it's driving lesson for Sophie. You've did the driving thingy, right? Now you can drive. Can you drive?
Sure.
Is that a yes or no?
Sure.
Sounds uncertain.
No, sure.
Okay, you can't drive.
No, yeah, I can.
Okay, you did
Yeah,
take the. Okay, I believe you.
Yeah.
Sophie is being tutored by Rome and Gary, which is really, really not a good thing because they're very overprotective of Sophie, which leads Sophie to hate driving and doesn't want and she really doesn't want to drive because of the overprotectiveness the two guys have because they don't want to lose her as well, like John. So basically this overprotectiveness is the undoing of Sophie's love for driving for now. But then thankfully Maggie steps in and decides to teach her how to drive. I haven't mentioned this in previous episode, but Maggie doesn't like to drive ever since she got into a car accident, killing her brother, basically. So Maggie is teaching Sophie the one thing she doesn't want to do, but it's successful because they know because one person doesn't want to drive because the two guys who taught her was overprotective, and the other person doesn't want to drive because they know because one person doesn't want to drive because the two guys who taught her was overprotective, and the other person doesn't want to drive because they know because one person doesn't want to drive because the two guys who taught her was overprotective, and the other person doesn't want to drive because the two guys who taught her was overprotective, and this one, she doesn't want to drive because she killed. Her brother was dead while driving, so it's a good combination to have, which allows Sophie to perfectionly drive, or practice the driving test, which is quite unusual, but it's a unique story. So yeah, so Maggie does finally learn to drive, or no, Sophie learned to drive, and with that comes for Maggie to be able to drive again, or semi-drive, become more comfortable driving. And then this is the big moment, because in the last couple of episodes, we know that John has been doing some shady stuff, and we didn't know what he was doing before his death. And John has apparently been doing a subway underground train subway deal, which could make a lot of money. But the government council, city council positions have been slightly icky, where some people, the votes have been changing. They thought that John had the votes, but John didn't have the votes before he committed suicide, so they thought this was the reason why. And Sophie, and Ashley finally comes and tells the truth about this to the family, especially Delilah and Gary. And this leads to them, because in this episode the subway votes happen, and the subway vote could lead could lead Delilah and her family to live in the house that they're in, or be evicted. And Delilah's decision, even though one of the person who was at John's funeral said don't sell the subway votes, or the real estate of the subway votes, Delilah decides to do so because she wanted to protect the family, which works in her favor because the subway vote was off by the city council. So, good thing for her. Basically, she gets to keep the house, and the subway votes are gone, and John's legacy is slightly broken right now, but really doesn't matter because Delilah gets to keep the house. What happens during this time? We know I haven't mentioned Catherine, except for the fact that Catherine did help Delilah keep the house, but Catherine has her date basically and drops Theo off, and it got successful. They kiss, the basic stuff at the Catherine's house, and when Eddie returns and dropping her Theo off, Eddie learns the truth about the date, and it crushes him because Catherine did tell Eddie that it was a business business trip that's leading her to not be able to take care of Theo, basically, which is a big lie that you should never tell your significant, or your what's the word, your parent, or the parent of your kid, basically the other half of your parent, basically. So yeah, really is a bad idea. Yeah, never do that, people. It's a bad idea.
Go Sophie.
Sophie, well, Sophie has been hating John ever since the marathon in episode 11, I think, or 10. I forgot, but thanks to Ashley, they finally get John's stuff, which leads them to read John's goodbye letter for the family, which makes all of them cry and get a little bit more closure. But they haven't gotten the full closure because they still don't know why John jumped, basically. But they get the letter, they cry, it's a good thing, basically. They get more closure. And at the end of the episode, Gary and Delilah discover John's second apartment. The second apartment that everyone has been, in the past couple of episodes, have been wondering, what is this mysterious apartment? And then they see this view from this apartment, which looks exactly the same as a painting that John gave Gary during chemo. So they go to the hospital chemo wing because that's where the painting still is, and they find this signature on the painting, B. Morgan, and that's gonna be the main investigation that Gary and the friends are gonna be going through to find out who is B. Morgan to John, and why did John have a second apartment, and why did John jump. And there's only 4 more episodes before the truth is revealed, so stay tuned. Everything will be revealed, yet more things will be more question will arise um, about other stuff than John's death. So yes, stay tuned, everyone. Stay tuned. Are you excited, Adam, about this 4 more
I'm pretty
episodes?
pumped.
Yeah, it's very unique in the way that they tell the story. It's kind of it gets emotional. So the 4 questions I'll probably be making for the next 4 episodes will be really more personal. And then the season finale, I'll probably make a little bit more personal, and we'll probably have a special guest, more special guest than just usual special guest if we can. So yes, it's gonna be a wild ride. And season 2 and 3, it's a quite a very unique ride as well. So yes, if you keep listening to the podcast, you will be learning more and more. So stay tuned. Do you have anything to say before saying goodbye?
I would like to say goodbye.
Well, I'm gonna say Happy Mother's Day to everyone.
That's true. Happy Mother's
Yes.
Day.
If I am able to upload this on the day of the Mother's Day, like we're recording right now, Happy Mother's Day to every mothers and grandmothers and great grandmothers out there. Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week for another episode of A Millennial Perspective with another guest, hopefully. Yeah, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See you.